Hello, and welcome to the Cancer Journey podcast. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Sherry Ann.
So let's start with Pesh. I'll go first today. Physically, I am a 4. Emotionally, I am a 4. Spiritually, a 4.25. And hope is a 4.25. And my word is messy.
Okay. Physically, I'm a 4. Emotionally, 3.95. Spirit, 4.3. Hope is 4.2. And my word is starting.
Well, we're going to start with our topic, which is just burnout. It's a small word, big topic, and definitely something that I think that has hit the zeitgeist like a lot more in the past 10 years. But obviously it has existed way earlier than that. Um, Burnout, and we often relate burnout to work, but burnout can be from all different kinds of things in your life. It can be from people to your home life, it can be work, it can be your friends, your family. It just extends out to so many different things, but it often is most recognized when it comes to like our work because that is the like laborious stuff that we do. And then sometimes we don't recognize the emotions or the feelings or any of the signs that we're having that we're burnt out in other places. So when it comes to a cancer journey, um, it's really easy to get burnt out there. And that can easily feel like work. And the question really becomes like, how do I manage burnout and how do I avoid burnout?
Yeah. Well, just kind of jumping off of what you were talking about, especially on a cancer journey as the caregiver. The burnout level can happen pretty quickly because you're in constant um constant onness, and you can feel overwhelmed easily when you're trying to juggle a lot of different things. I kind of think of burnout as this huge feeling of overwhelm, which is different from stress. So stress can feel like, I'm worried about this, I'm anxious about that, where I think of overwhelm as there's just so much for me to handle. And it's like, which do I address and what comes first and what are my priorities, and trying to do it all at the same time or making everything a priority. And then all of a sudden it's like, I'm just overwhelmed because I need to do everything. And I'm saying this and I'm relating so well because I think from the beginning of the year, I've been in burnout,
Mm-hmm.
just
Yeah.
trying to, what it feels like is tread water with all the things that are going on in my life. I mean, my parents, I have new grandbaby, I have work, I have my regular family, I have my friends. It's like, yes, they're all super duper important to me. Okay, what rises to the top? And it's more like, what's urgent and where's there a fire? And so that's really not the best way to live your life.
Yeah. And in all that, you know what you didn't say? You didn't say you. You don't have you. That's like the one thing that you didn't say in all of that. And I know you know that you are very important in this equation. And I do want to just step back into like what burnout is and how it feels and how you were saying, stress versus that overwhelm, whereas overwhelm is definitely more of the burnout stage. But I kind of think of it this way, like stress is like a bag. Stress is like a tote bag or a backpack or a purse, right? And it's almost like you're grocery shopping, right? So you have your regular bag, your regular stress, your everyday just needs in there, which you can carry along and you don't have to stress about them, but you can carry them easily and you hold them with you because there's things that are important that you consider. But as you're shopping around and thinking about what everyone else needs and what different functions need, and you're adding things to the basket, you then have to carry all those other bags and depending on how you're getting from here to here and what your method is, carrying those bags becomes harder. And it leads to this literal weight of all of them on your shoulders. And it affects your being. It makes you flustered and tired and just exhausted with everything that you're holding. And then it becomes not just like that physical holding that feels kind of small that you're able to put them down, but it's almost like you're without a car. There is no bus. You're walking home with all those groceries and you're doing all the work to not only physically be active doing it, but physically holding all those things too. So when burnout is here and it's present, it feels like that weight, and it feels like that weight even without those bags, right? Like it is mental, emotional, spiritual, like it seeps into every pore of you. And then it feels like it starts to change who you are and what you're able to do, because maybe you once felt so capable to do all these things, but once you're in burnout, there's this depression that kind of comes over. It makes you feel like you can't handle all those things. And it's easy to start believing that you really can't carry all of that and you need to put things down. And so, if we once thought we were Wonder Woman and could do anything and carry anything, now you're in a space where I have to put things down. What does that say about me and who I am as a person and how I can help people and how I'm of service? And that whole swirl of all those things is how I view burnout.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I mean, you described it so well. I love the imagery of all of the bags.
Mhm.
I do that. I mean,
Mhm.
I did that yesterday. I had my backpack on, I had my tote bag with my computer, and then I had this other bag with food. And it's like, oh my God. So you just described it. And yet burnout feels to me like it's a new, not a new word and concept, but it's newer. When I was in corporate way back, oh God, decades ago, we just talked about stress, and it was all about stress. And so we had stress management and all of that, but that was supported by the job because they wanted you to function well on the job. But now it's like life burnout. And I'm going to hook into that word that you said, exhausted. I think that is the first clue that we're in burnout and that we just cannot function at the same level that we thought that we could, that we used to be able to. And then for your reminder about, hey, Sherry Ann, you didn't mention you, because obviously somewhere there I'm on the bottom of the list and back of the line, which is not a good thing because I remember feeling that way or putting myself there when I got sick.
Mhm.
So then, the radar goes up for me, and it's like, okay, you just, in a casual conversation, named all the things that were going on in your life, and you weren't even there. So that radar or that flare that just got thrown up by what you said is like, ooh, okay. First thing that needs to come in is recognizing that I am part of the equation, that I shouldn't be last in line, that I should be first in line. And then that brings up the whole concept of self care.
Mhm. Yeah. I also, sorry, I know we're on self-care, but also just when you were in corporate, and even, when I was younger, before burnout was really like a term that we used, and it was stress. I mean, stress was still technically a negative term, but there's more of this culture that we fed into of almost like it's like when people say they're busy, right? It's like an award. Like you get an
Right.
award
It's
for
good
being.
stress.
Exactly. I mean, there is good stress, and that's called you stress, but that's not what any of us are doing. We're not making time for you stress, which is like the stress of learning something new or something like that. Like that's not what we're giving ourselves with that stress when you're in corporate and you're trying to, go, go, go. And I've said this little phrase before, but like we're in a culture or society that values productivity, which means that stress is a product of that. And so for the longest time, it was like, oh, I'm stressed. Like I remember being in school and being like, feeling like I was bragging by saying I was stressed. You know, it's like, it's a good thing to be stressed and really busy. And so there's this glorification of being in
Hmm.
that place. But when we started using the word burnout and getting really clear about mental health, like more widely in the zeitgeist, that's when we really started to see this experience, which, like you said, it is a relatively new term and a relatively new approach to what we were just calling stress before and allowing to like envelop our lives. Um, but now that it's a burnout, we're recognizing the negative ramifications of it so much more than we used to be. Um, so I wanted to like completely acknowledge that. I also want to acknowledge that I'm sorry if I called you out that you didn't put you in there, but it's very important to me that you put you in there, and take care of you first. So it's like taking care of you on top of the grandbaby and my grandparents and all of that stuff. Um, and so yeah, that leads us into that self-care realm. And how are we taking care of ourselves? And what is that quote unquote optimal level? That's not the highest level of productivity. It's the optimal level that lets our well-being be important as well. That we're not burning ourselves out and um working on fumes.
Yes. And one of the first things of burnout that I've learned and that we do so well is emotions. It's like getting in touch with your emotions because we've said this a zillion times, they're messengers. So when I'm angry or upset or whatever emotions, the constricting ones or even the expanding ones, it's like, what's going on? I need to pause, or we need to pause in that first step of self care to be recognition, recognizing where we are, kind of on the map of emotions, so that we can actually go, okay. I'm in a constricting place. When I'm constricted, I don't feel good. It literally feels constricting. So then I'm going to try to counter the constriction, right? I'm going to try to do something. And when you're overdoing and you're trying to do more, well, like my head's going to explode. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just a first understanding, like, what am I feeling? Not to do anything, just recognizing, ah, I am an emotional being, constricting, transitional, expansive emotions. Where am I? What's going on? So it's that, here we go, another tool that we talk about all the time, the long pause to just be with where we are. And if
Mm-hmm.
I'm angry and upset, let myself be angry and upset in a safe and away from others so I don't have to like poop on them because of my emotions, but to get in touch with myself and understand like what's going on that's making me do this.
Mm-hmm.
And if burnout is present, then it's like, my capacity to handle what's going on is about this teeny. So on feel right, that's constricting. It's not expansive. So it's like, of course I'm going to feel this. So now
Mm-hmm.
how am I going to do with that constricting? What can I do for myself that allows me to be like open my shoulders and breathe deeply instead of like, and I gotta get this done and I gotta do this because
Mm-hmm.
I'm so overwhelmed. It's emotions.
Yeah. I actually love that comparison of constricting and expanding because I do feel it like, within our bodies, right? When you did this and we did this, like I so understand that. But when you're saying the space that you have for other people and other things outside of yourself being constricting, it's small, and when it's expansive, you have more space for it. That it kind of just blew my mind a little bit because um I mean, maybe I have a selfish concept around the map of emotions because it feels insular, right? And so I think of me being constricted and me being expansive in that emotional range, but to think that when I am in a constricting emotion, the space that I have for other people or other things is constricted as well is such an important point because then we can say like I'm really frustrated. I'm experiencing some really constricting emotions. Like, I don't have space. I don't have space for anyone but me right now, and I need to work with that. Um, so that for me was just like ding. That's like that's such a beautiful place because when you're in like love and compassion, you have so much space for other people and what they're experiencing and being able to show up for them and um embrace them in that. So that's such a good like connection for me. I also as you're talking was thinking about like um we talk about pausing all the time, right? And slowing down. You and I both have activator in our top 10 strengths. So we are people who want to like go, 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 let's get things done. So like don't get us wrong. We're we're not like easy going, it'll get done, take your time kind of people. So it I promise you, it takes a lot of effort for you and I to slow down. It's so hard. It's a lot of effort, but it's absolutely worthwhile to connect with what's here and what's necessary for us. And this might be a little bit off topic and it was like a ping of things for me that were coming up, but which is exactly what I want to talk about is that my brain goes everywhere. I'm sure I'm a little neurodivergent and I think a lot of people are. I think that we've created a society that is very neurodivergent with so much stimulus and I mean, another word in the zeitgeist that's really popular is overstimulating and being overstimulated in certain situations and that recognition of what's coming in. So it can be really hard to slow down and to focus, for lack of a better term, on what is here right now. And so that leads to even more burnout because we're looking at all the pieces. I mean, you just calling out all the things in your life, right, that have your attention. Like that feels like a neurodivergent, like I have to be there and I have to be there and I have to be there and I have to do this and I have to keep these on my list and I have all these bags for all these different things and I don't have them strapped to my body. They're like hanging from my limbs as I'm trying to walk up this hill and take all the grocery bags in one go. And so I can really see where the spiral effect and that society asks us to be productive. We become neurodivergent. There's so much stimulus, and then we become burnt out. And that's how we get there. So, like, how do we unravel it? By slowing down. And so it becomes like it's difficult at first. I will say that. But once you start doing it, it does start to become commonplace to put yourself first and figure out how you're feeling or figure out like, hey, if I put down this bag, how does that feel? Or what bag can I put down so that I can start to breathe again and feel less constricted and have some space? Or is there something I can take out of a bag, like little by little? It's not going to be all at once that you just drop it. Because I think that's also the fear with burnout is that we're just going to lose it and we're just going to drop everything. And it's either we can take it all or we can't take any of it. Um, and that doesn't have to be the case. I think that when we continue down that route, it does kind of become the case. And that's when we get sick. When you get sick,
Yeah.
you have to drop those bags and it doesn't give you a choice. And this is when this is the whole stress causes more cortisol. And so your body can't heal itself. And so then it's constantly in fight or flight and looking for something else to kind of fix, but it doesn't get to the root of the problem. Um, and that's when we get sick. So that was a long spiel. I'm sorry.
No, no, I mean it's right on. And I was just thinking about like why do we yes, society has created this productivity and urgency. It's like do it now, and be as productive as possible. And while you were talking, I was thinking of Rachel Ray,
Hmm.
what 30-minute meals was a phenomenon. It was like, yeah, we can cook dinner or a meal in 30 minutes. But what came to mind as you were talking is she would go to the refrigerator and grab a bunch of stuff. And then she'd go to the cabinet and grab a bunch of stuff. And her goal was to do one trip
Hmm.
from here, everything that I need, to her workspace. And it's like, and we all went, oh, that's great. And I can make me a meal in 30 minutes. Talk about productivity. And
Hmm.
I'm like, what the heck? Why Are we rushing through life
Mhm.
as we're saying this? But that is, it's like we got on not a treadmill, it's that people mover that's at the airport, except that that guy goes kind of slow, but it's going really fast and you're trying, it's like rushing you to the next spot. But for what?
Mhm.
And what are we missing? Now, I got to say, I bought into productivity, urgency, all of that. I just know it from Steve Covey that was the four quadrants. It's like
Mhm.
do what important and
Urgent. Yeah. It's urgent and important.
right, right, and it's like, oh my God, everything is in that quadrant, and so again, leads to burnout, where it's like it's not slowing down, it's speeding up. And
Mhm.
if I could do everything in 30 minutes or less, or maybe it's Pomodoro and I set the clock for 25 minutes, it's like, okay, how much can I get done in 25 minutes? And then I give myself a 5-minute rest and then I go back to I mean, it's like everything, the structures that are in place are to speed us up.
Mhm.
And here's something about the cancer journey, which I do love, is it does make you drop all the bags and it slows everything down because you have the hardest, most intense focus on yourself as the
Mhm.
patient. And truly, so does the caregiver. It's like what's most important and urgent, woohoo, back to that quadrant, right now. But what's lovely about it is it's us. It's the people.
Mhm.
It's what's going on. It's sad that it's because of an illness, and it's sad because we're going for, a treatment or trying to heal, but we're doing it in such a medical only way that's why the Cancer Journey Institute's here saying it's not just your physical. It
Mhm.
is the mental, it is the emotional, and it is your spirit. And here I'm speaking this, and I created this company, and I'm also telling everybody how I have succumbed to the urgent productivity. I don't even know what it is, philosophy or
Mhm.
belief of the world. And I'm like, no, come back to why you created this and to be a part of the world where I can go outside and take a deep breath and notice the trees swaying. And if you stand next to a plant long enough, you can smell it. Ooh, instead of like putting it to your nose so that you can rush the scent and the experience, it's like you just sit there and allow that natural scent to just waffle through. It takes too long, right? I could hear my internal voice and it's like, but that's the realness. That's the stuff that we get to appreciate the beauty of nature, the rhythm of the real, I want to say nature because it's not the world. The world is sped up. It's like the rhythm of nature isn't fast. The flower is going to grow at its own pace. The trees can live forever. And they're not saying, hurry up, I want to be that really big redwood tree. It's like, and then there's time, and
Mhm.
then there's wisdom, and then there's experience. I mean, it's like, whew.
Sharian's missing nature right now. I think that's a sign right there that that's exactly what your being needs when you're in burnout. But I have a few things to say just really quick on what you had just said. Um, re the 30-minute meals. We used to sit there. We used to sit there and watch as she took out like a half complete like lasagna already done. It would be like that was not 30 minutes. That was pre-done. So like the reality of it for us, I mean we were always calling it the reality, but the idea of 30-minute meals with that cultural standpoint makes sense. But it's also like, isn't the point of cooking to nourish you in many different ways, right? Like I understand that not everyone's going to love to cook, but there can be a ritual around it. There can be experimentation and play with what you cook. And then not only are you enjoying the process of it, but your body gets to enjoy the nourishment of it. So the idea that we're rushing something like that because our days are so crazy and work is so hectic and you're already in burnout that you need cooking to be 30 minutes is a whole other thing. But she wasn't even making it in 30 minutes. It was a lot. She had stuff that was prepped anyway. But the cancer journey really does ask you to slow down. Nature, like you were saying, nature doesn't stop. Even when things die, it doesn't stop. They continue to go at their pace. Um, so we're not asking anyone to stop. We're not telling anyone to stop. Drop your bags, drop everything, just like completely don't move. It's really an invitation to slow down. And the pause is really just temporary because it's actually so hard to like just completely slow down your pace, to change your pace completely. Sometimes you need that rest point in the middle to just go and kind of let go of all the like tension you're holding from the rushing around and um feeling like there's so much you have to do, you have to do, um, to just reflect for a moment. And then when you start again, you get to choose what pace you want to go at. We don't have to go at like 100 miles an hour right away. Let's ease into it and take your time and figure out what really needs to be picked back up and what's really important here. Um, I'm gonna do my takeaway.
Okay.
I think some of that was part of my takeaway, but if I'm sitting in the perspective of what is my takeaway with this conversation of burnout, it's that it's really easy to get there. It's so easy to get to burnout, and it's so easy to um, live in this society that wants us to do when even when it's not asking us to do something, there's so much stimulus that makes us want to do things. And I know I'm absolutely a culprit of wanting to do more things or different things and add things. Um, but it is the pace at which we choose to do them without force and without not without and with love and care for ourselves and the impact we're having and the experience that we're having. Um, that really matters, right? It's about the journey, not about the destination. And that was always a hard concept for me. Um, but only in recent years have I really understood how important the journey is and how much joy and sorrow that can be on the journey. But it's not about where you're going, it's about how you're getting there. And so if we take a moment to look at how are you getting wherever you want to go, defined or undefined, is this journey really serving you and the person you want to be when you get there? So that's my takeaway. And my pesh is physically, I'm a 4.2. Emotionally, I'm a 4.4. Spiritually, a 4.5. And hope is a 4.4. And my word is possibilities.
Mm, I love this conversation. I had no idea where we would end up, and what r- really came out from all of this, your words, my words, is fun and play. That is probably what's missing when you're in burnout. And sometimes it takes a while to play. And sometimes we could spend a whole day in fun and play. So that's what I'm taking away, that I need to add more of that. And it doesn't have to be all day, it can be moments after the pause. It's like, okay, I'm choosing me for the next 20 minutes. Again, I hate the time clock, but it is still the baby steps that we need to take, because it's not like burnout, overwhelm, and then I'm fine. And we can, like we go from one to the other. It is that journey too. It's like there is some payoff for the burnout, but there is a huge payoff for living in your, mm, dare I say, pace. It's like that your natural pace, not the one that society has handed you. And I think I can keep on going here. I'm going to stop there. And my PESH is physically 4.2, emotionally, 4.5. And my spirit is 4.6. My hope is 4.4, 4.45. And my word is, I just heard your word, so I'm trying to think of another one.
You can have the same
Abundance.
one.
I know possibility did pop into my head though, but abundance, because there's an abundance of possibilities.
You're right that there was so much to say about this topic. We didn't know where it was going to go, but we get to a place really true when we don't always know what we're going to say ahead of time. So I trust us that way. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back next week with a new episode.
And have a lovely rest of your day. Perhaps take a pause and remember you're more powerful than you realize.